family, it's Tosh Marva prepping. My fingers are totally caked with dirt. Just screw it. I mean, what are you going to do? That's what you get for going in the garden early and just getting at it. It is what it is. So I want to go over with you guys preparing medically for what's to come, right? There's a lot of things that are happening in the world right now that could seriously have a detrimental effect to our medical care system, right? That could be anything from an outbreak, a pandemic, that could be war, that could be war with certain countries. We get, if you did not know, a large part of our medical stuff and medicine and components of medicines that we put together and make, we get those from China. We get those from India, right? And so if something happens where we are not in a good way with either of those locations, India, okay, maybe we're not in a conflict with them, but a pandemic takes them down, takes us out, whatever, that could affect their ability to get supplies to us. That affects imports, exports, okay? Nurse shortages in food is not the only thing, right? We have shortages happening in everything, in EMTs and doctors and nurses especially. And as we know, nurses are the backbone. It's not the doctors, it's the nurses, okay? And so, and we have forced a bunch of them to retire early, over the last couple years, right? We are hurting. And maybe, nurses were already it's a thankless job, right? They do so much. They're already working crazy hours, with shortages already, just working tons and tons. I can't imagine how it is now, okay, with there being even more shortages and what they're doing. I would love if there's any nurses in the room to please give us your opinion of what you think. Are you nervous about, first of all, are you nervous about and concerned about the levels of nurses now? The level of care that's able to be given? Are you already overworked in regards to the number of patients you have? And then your concerns for the future and what that looks like. My fear is that the minute something happens, a war, a pandemic, something that causes an increase in people being hurt and needing to be cared for, that we are in trouble. We already saw this, and unfortunately, we don't learn from our experiences. We are still going to be proactive or reactive instead of proactive. We could be hitting the streets, increasing, our health care, making it better, increasing nurses, increasing doctors, sending our children to school to learn this stuff so that we can take care of ourselves. But that's not what we're going to do. Okay. And so my concern is, how do you prepare your home? And this is kind of what the areas that I think about. 4 things that I think about in regards to taking care and having the ability to take care of my family during a medical concern. From something very, very simple, like taking a splinter out of a finger, to major stuff, right? Being able to stitch them up myself, broken limbs, stopping a wound, right? You have a major wound, a major break, being able to assess properly what's going on and then correct it, right? And take care of your family member. Okay, so first area is over-the-counter meds and medicines and medical supplies. Basically, this is anything that you can buy. You don't need to be a hospital or a doctor's office to order it. You're getting all the supplies and all the medical stuff that you can get your hands on that's over the counter, and your medicines, okay? So I'm just going to shoot down this list really, really quick in this area of things I'm talking about. I'm talking about getting your inflammation meds, your pain meds, your eyes, nose, and ears, anything that has to do with your eyes, nose, and ears, cold meds, heartburn medicine, tummy, upset stomach, diarrhea, throwing up type medicine, all of that stuff. Hydration, salts, tablets, different things that you can have. This can be anything from having extra water, extra juice, extra hydration, salts, extra, what's the drinks? Electrolyte type drinks, okay? This is antibiotics. This is creams. With antibiotics, remember, I am an affiliate of Jace Case. You can go in, use the link in the description box below. And I think you're able to get, if you use the Mama Bear code, you're able to get $10 off of that. Now, I understand that this is an expensive purchase, but it is a must. You absolutely need to get this, okay? Because it's too valuable to not have in your preps in case something happens. So get that, get it on the list of priorities, and then prioritize where that's going to happen in your budget, okay? But make sure that you're talking to your significant other and that you guys are getting that done. I have blood stops, stitching stuff, bandages, wraps, heating and cooling type wraps, surgical kits, suture kit, foot care stuff, right? For your fingernails, your toenails, broken limb kit, right? Broken arm kit, that type of stuff, oximeter, a blood pressure, I'm trying to say machine, but it's not a machine, right? Get the blood pressure cuff or the arm cuff, tourniquets, you know, a nebulizer. Think over the counter, and if you're able to get it, okay? Think about when CV happened and everybody was scrambling. You couldn't find bleach wipes, you couldn't find bleach, you couldn't find hand sanitizer, gloves, masks, whatever it is that you were trying to find that was like a hospital type item, a medical type item, you couldn't get, right? Very, very hard to get your hands on that stuff. Get your hands on it now while you can, and then get all the other things that you can get your hands on. I'm not saying go out and get, 30 bottles of ibuprofen, right? But getting a few bottles and having that in your medical preps is not the end of the world, and can be very beneficial and could last you and your family for a very, very long time. Think about your family members head to toe, all the things that have happened to them in the last, let's just say 5 years. Write down all the things that have happened to every family member in the last 5 years and get those things. If you guys know you guys get heartburn a lot, or you get upset stomach a lot, or you get headaches a lot, somebody in your family, this is like a normal thing. Stockpile the things that you know your family uses, right? If you guys go through a lot of Tums, for example, stock up on Tums, right? Get the things that you need, but also at a minimum, get those 1 or 2 bottles of different things that are kind of for those off the wall things that you might not have. Maybe you guys have never had it, but you want to make sure that you have in your preps for the day that you need it, right? Some burn creams. Maybe nobody's ever in the last 5 years burned themselves in your house, right? But what happens the day that somebody burns themselves, right? So have some burn creams, have some different things to be able to take care of burns, okay? Second thing I have on the list is holistic over-the-counter. This is thinking about what you can get now. It's just like the other stuff. There is a ton of stuff that you can get. Etsy is like my go-to. Amazon has a bunch of different companies, right? Basically, holistically, you can be doing your research, figuring out what tinctures, what things you want, and buying this stuff online. You can literally either get the seeds now so that you can plant them later, get the plants and buy the plants, the live plants now. You could be buying the pieces of the plant from, Etsy or from Amazon, from a warehouse, from a company who does that, seed company or herb company, and get whatever it is you need. Let's say you find a recipe and you need the bark of a certain tree, right? And you want that for a tincture that you want to make that does this, and this. You could go and research and get that. And there's somebody, I promise you, selling that bark that's already processed and ready to go for you, okay? So what I'm saying is do your research, start thinking holistic, start thinking herbal, start thinking oils that you want, herbs you want, plants you want, pieces of plants you want. Get that stuff bought while you can buy it now. It's only going to take one major pandemic, an actual crazy where like a huge percentage of people are dying. That's serious, right? It's panic buying. Everything in under the sun is going to be bought, right? Preservation stuff, camping stuff, preparedness items, food, water, meds, medical supplies, everything is going to be cleaned out. You're not going to be able to get it. And with the way that the supply chain is now, it's not going to be restocked soon to where you can just get it, okay? So take a look at that, start researching and get your holistic over-the-counter stuff. So you're not having to start from scratch. Maybe you have books and you're like, okay, I could teach myself some stuff later when I have time, right? And you maybe got the seeds. You have the seeds to be able to plant the things that you're thinking in your head holistically you've learned. But the thing is, one, that's growing is a learning curve, okay? Two, teaching yourself how to do tinctures and how that works and doses and all that stuff, that takes time to learn that stuff, okay? And so you should be trying to do that stuff now. Two, if you a seed is phenomenal. That's great, right? So if you that's what you have, that's what you have. But why not? So this is my thing. Anytime I find something or hear somebody say something, and this is great for fevers, right? I will get that all the ways that I can get it, okay? I will buy the seed, get it in my preps. I will try to find a live plant that's already started from a company and get that, whether it's a tree, whether it's a plant, whether it's a bush, whatever it is, a flower, get it live, get it planted, okay? If it's a certain herb, my goal now is to have it outdoors and have it indoors. Certain things I am making sure that I want to have for sure, keep going, and I'm having it indoors and outdoors. Then I will process that plant as it grows. I will do my own homemade tinctures, or I can dry it and keep it in a dried form. I can use it in food. However, I'm going to preserve that plant. At the same time though, so that I can instantly start learning and making stuff, is I will go and find the pieces, the herbs, the dried herbs, the live herbs, whatever it is that I'm looking for from somebody over the counter, and I will buy that product, and then I will then watch 1,000 videos, read a bunch of stuff, right? And then I will then do my tincture so that I can do that stuff right now, whether it's I'm doing an extract, I'm doing an oil, I want to do a tincture, I want to do a salve. Maybe I just want to buy a certain herb now and just have it in its dried state and keep it that way, right? But it's easily to be bought now. I have the plant growing, I have some seeds for later, right? I try to do all of that now, using now while I have the research and the internet and everything in front of me, getting the books that I need, writing down the information. What I did was I got a Rolodex. It's not really a Rolodex, like a round Rolodex, but it's a rectangle box that has like a phone Rolodex in it, right? And I put in blank cards, and I'm basically going to write down, this is going to be like a forever project. It's always something I'm going to be working on, but I write down a symptom, let's say F, fever, and then I will write down the over-the-counter stuff that's great for that, and then I will write down and start writing down holistic stuff. And then as the years progress and as I move forward with learning holistic stuff, I'll write down, hey, this tincture is great for fever. If you put this tea together, right, whatever the components are to the tea, add the tincture, that's great for this or that, right? And then I can just pull the symptom from there. And obviously, if we solve over-the-counter stuff, we have solve over-the-counter stuff. But as I learn stuff holistically, that's where you can easily pull out stuff, right? And marking books. When I find something in books, let's say about fever, any notes, tips, tricks, different herbs, different plants, different trees, different ways to preserve that, to make it to where you can ingest it, or how you're going to utilize it and utilize that medicine, would be written on that card and in that area, okay? So that's what my plan is there. But what my point that I'm trying to make is over the counter. Get the stuff while you can get everything under the sun right now. Number 3 thing I have is prescription backups. Now, this is a hard conversation because I do understand that some people have medical issues with themselves, symptoms that, you know, once that medicine's gone, they're probably going to die, right? It's something severe. They're taking life-saving medicines. I understand that. I also understand when people say, well, my doctor won't give me extra meds. I can't just ask for extra meds. I understand that as well, too. But for those of you that have not asked your doctor, you do not know until you ask. There's nothing crazy sounding about you asking right now, especially now with how the world is unraveling. Asking your doctor and telling your doctor your concern about the day when there's no prescriptions. Is there a way for you to get a backup supply? Is there, do they have recommendations for those backups? What is your doctor going to tell you when you say, I'm concerned about the day that my prescriptions are gone and what am I going to do? And wait for that feedback. See what they say. Maybe they have a recommendation of a holistic doctor. Maybe they know some foods and some different vitamins, over the counter stuff right now today that would help for your symptoms or the things that are happening with you. Okay. Ask your doctor this stuff, or go to a holistic doctor and ask their opinion. Hey, I'm currently seeing my doctor. I currently take this over the counter prescriptions, yada, yada, yada. What is the equivalent things, if at all, that I could take holistically, right? Research. There's so much, again, it's at our fingertips, research of different foods and their effects on different things. Foods, different vitamins, over-the-counter supplements, other different things that are helpful. Holistic options, certain plants, trees, flowers, aspects of them that you could put together and you could heal yourself, okay? We've got to get better with taking this into our hands. It's not that maybe you don't want to, maybe I don't want to either, but I don't want to be stuck in a place where I did not do the work to learn this stuff and learn enough to keep my family. Imagine your kiddo, you have no over-the-counter stuff anymore, and your kiddo is sick, and if you just learn a bit of basics, of some basic tummy, remedies, or some, fever remedies for children, if at all, do it for your kids. Start with your kids and research for your kids. What is the backup for prescriptions? Okay, that has to be a thing. And for some people, that's going to be an okay transition. A lot of people are going to get better because they're off of the meds, right? And they're going to be okay. Other people are going to transition to some holistic stuff, change their diet, and they're going to be okay. And they're going to be able to make it because they're not on like life-saving meds. Some people are not going to be okay. That is just the reality of a big event happening. And the last thing I have is your vitamins, right? Your supplements. Again, even foods that are good for certain things, a lot of that stuff has a pill form, has a vitamin form that's made of it, okay? So there's a lot of stuff that you can get that's in a supplement form, a pill form, right? That is good for you, okay? You hear these things like, oh, this plant is good for you. Well, get it in the vitamin form also, right? Get the seed, get the plant, buy the actual herb or whatever to do an immediate tincture, salve, extract, whatever it is you're trying to make physically, and then get the vitamin supplement of it, okay? And just keep doing that for everything as you evolve and as you learn about things that you want to learn about or get into to prepare for the future. Because I think meds, remember, water, food, meds, food, water, med, that is the three things that I tell you, especially if you're new, that's what you concentrate on. And medical and medicine and being able to take care of yourself, imagine that skill set anywhere you go, right? Your house burns down, you lose everything. I lose my tinctures, I lose everything, right? But the knowledge is possibly still with me. Oh, I remember that plant does help with this, right? I'm going to crush down this plant and we're going to make a little tea out of it, right? Simple things, right? Think of it as it's knowledge. Knowledge is power. And you have that with you, and you can be a healer of sorts when you need to be. You remember this stuff, okay? And it could save your life. It could save a family member's life. At a minimum, you could learn something where you can ease some pain. Okay, so I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nurse. I just know that the importance that this is an area that we could see strife in the future. We're already dealing with a lot of changes, right? If you're somebody who takes prescription, and I'm sure you've seen this yourselves with a lot of prescriptions not being available, having to go to multiple places to even get a specific brand filled. A lot of times being, substituted with a generic brand or a different type of brand. Doctors and nurses and doctors' appointments, the medical system taking a long time to get appointments, right? To get a call back, to do a follow-up. You get something done, you need to follow up. Well, then that follow-up doesn't happen for 2 more months. Then that happens. Then they want some more follow-ups. Well, that doesn't happen for 2 more months. I mean, that's insane. That's something that should be able to be taken care of within a month's period period, and close together as it should, right, is now taking, over a 6-month period, right, or a year period. That's crazy, okay? And so that should tell you alone that, two, there's a problem with our supplies of medicine coming in already, and there is a shortage, right? That stuff that is happening, that should be concerning to you. That should be a sign that things are not maybe going the way that they need to go. And it is a definite area to prepare and to prepare your family. So I hope you guys are well. I hope you guys have been talking off each other's ear in the chat. I'm sure there's been so much great information. Hopefully the nurses are sounding off, any kind of doctors, anybody we have in the medical field, an aspect of it. Maybe you're not a nurse or whatever, but you're worked in the field in a different area, and you've had something that you wanted to share with you. Hopefully you've done that. If you're watching this after and you're catching the replay, please in the comments share with everybody, because there is a lot of people that do read the comments to learn information, okay, to get knowledge, okay, and so share that information out, okay. Blessings from my bear cave to yours, and I'll see you guys tomorrow on the next video. Take care. Bye.